everyone. Welcome again to our NPS Empower Hour. Really excited for our final Empower Hour of 2025 to round out the year with hearing from you all. From your colleagues on the organizing committee, people who have been working this past year to build the union, people who work day in and day out for the Park Service, excuse me, but also for building their union. So really excited to be seeing them and hearing from them tonight. I am going to quickly pin all of our panelists, um, and then we will. I guess, I always forget to do this. Hi, I'm Lee Fisher. I'm an organizer with NTEU. I work with the Intermountain region, and I am joined, in addition to our organizing committee, by my colleague, Stephanie. Stephanie, if you wanted to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Stephanie Snow, and I'm the NTEU organizer that has been working with the Pacific West Region Organizing Committee.
Okay, I think I have got. Oh, and probably myself. Add pin. Okay, I think I got us all. All right. Well, welcome to our panel hearing from organizing committee from both Intermountain and Pacific West regions. I'm going to start the evening off with a pretty easy and probably customary question for you is what brought you to wanting to build a union? How did you join this movement? Um, we can go through the panel if anyone is ready to answer. Feel free to come off of mute, or I can just go in order of how I see people. All right, Travis. Yeah,
Yep.
go.
Okay, I'll start. So I've never been in a union my entire life, so this is all brand new. And this year in particular has brought many challenges, as anyone who's been in the federal government is well aware of. And it has brought, at least for myself, wanting to take action and seeing what I can do to make a difference and try and take some charge into my own hands and do something about it and do something for that's a little positive, given how the year's been. And this has been a way for me to channel that energy into something not only for myself, but for all the people I love working with and the parks I love working at and supporting.
Thanks, Travis. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Yeah, I have always been somewhat interested in unionizing, but didn't really know a lot about how it worked. My first ever season in the Park Service was in the National Capital Region that is unionized. I remembered hearing some things about join a union, but it was a really short season. I was a GS3. I was just like, I don't know what's going on. And a couple years ago, when I heard that Yellowstone had unionized, I was like, yeah, this would be a great idea. And there's so many things that I've talked to coworkers that could, no matter how much I love the NPS and working for the NPS, things could make it better for all of the folks that I care about for who work for the NPS. And I thought, hey, that would be really cool if we could do that. But I didn't feel like I knew folks at my park well enough yet to just like come in and propose that. And so this year I was, talking to some coworkers and realized that, with all of this stuff going on, we had an even more powerful case for the need to unionize. And so moving forward, I'm, just excited to be, working together with other folks and bringing the community of my park and the larger Intermountain region together. And so, yeah, I was just really excited about that early on in the year.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay. Anyone else want to jump in? Hey, Bonnie.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Bonnie Phillips at Point Reyes National Seashore, one of three organizers for our park in the Pacific West region. And I never thought I would be doing this. I'm a 15-year career employee with the National Park Service in the Visitor and Resource Protection Division. And I think just with all of the changes that started to happen, and then over time, having been with the National Park Service for 15 years and working in all the different channels to be empowered and work with coworkers to make things better, and realizing after 15 years, we've been talking about we have made things better, but we've also been talking about a lot of the same things for years now and not making any headway. And also and recognizing that this is an avenue, at least for my part in our group, that we haven't tried, and that as much as myself and my coworkers really love our park management, that there's a lot that is out of their control. And so this is our way of being empowered within our park to support our agency mission, which I think is what is all near and dear to our heart. So that's what got me involved. Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie. Who wants to jump in? And thanks, Bonnie, for introducing yourself. Again, I'm apparently just not on introductions tonight. If folks want to introduce yourself when you first give an answer, that'd be great. We'll come back to Travis and Lindsay. Bree, Kristen, Perry, anyone want to give an answer about why you got involved?
I think I heard recently a quote that resonated with me. Somebody said Donald Trump was the most effective organizer of the year, which kind of made me mad, but also I was like, okay, that's true. Um, not to make light of it, but I think fear, honestly, is where I started from, in a position of like, I really need to do something. And it quickly morphed into, uh, in order to overcome this fear and to create something that allows us to work together to combat all of these forces that are coming at us. It requires a lot of work. Like, um, before I knew that we were trying to unionize, and probably before we even started this process, I literally threw my money at AFGE. They have the e-dues, and I was like, I know you don't represent me, but I'm gonna throw my money at you in hopes that someone will just represent me if something bad happens. And now, as we're starting this process, I'm realizing you can't just throw your money at something and hope that someone's going to cover you. It takes like real buy-in, real effort to build um, a bargaining agreement with your coworkers and learn who your coworkers are. And um, the fear has morphed into perseverance and just a desire to build something good that's going to protect us. So thank you. Oh, I didn't even say who I was. I'm Kristen. I'm an architect for the Intermountain region. And I work for all of the parks in the Intermountain region that need architectural assistance. So I love my job.
Thank you. All right, well, let's go on to the next question. And we'll start hopefully with our folks who haven't answered yet, just for sake of time. We got a lot of folks on the panel, which I'm really excited about that we get to hear from so many people. So, when you reflect on your time organizing, what has been your best or most positive experience, and what has been most challenging about organizing? Bree or Perry, want to jump in first?
Yeah, I'm Perry. I work at Glacier, longtime seasonal. Um, I think when I think about my experience organizing, it's the friends you make along the way. Um, Truly, this past summer was my seventh season at Glacier and my 17th season, like many seasons overall in the Park Service. And there's so many people that I had walked by in the park, said hi to, but like didn't really know beyond small talk. And so to actually have conversations with those people and say, like, how are you doing? Like, what are you struggling with? What might make this place a better place for you to work? And to walk into places I'd never been before, like the utility shop or the auto shop. Like, it's a little intimidating to walk up to all the, into an office I've never been before with a bunch of guys I don't know and be like, hey, are you interested in a union? But I feel more connected to everyone who works in the park, all those people that I've talked to, all those people who've joined the union, people who haven't joined and are still thinking about it. I still feel like I know all of them better. And yeah, I think when I was first thinking about getting into this, it was like, well, what if we don't end up forming a union? What if it doesn't work out? What if we fail? It's like, well, even if we don't end up with a union, there's a lot of worthwhile, it's very a worthwhile effort to like become more connected and a stronger community, and that can do a lot of good. And also, if we succeed, so much the better. So,
Awesome. Thanks, Perry. Bree, you want to jump in?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Bree. I'm a landscape architect with the Pacific West Regional Office. I'm based in the Partnerships Division with the Community Assistance Program. And I think I would echo what everybody has pretty much said so far. It's been really great to build community across the parks and the regional office, across so many different geographies and landscapes within our region. So it's been really great to connect and hear from others about what they're dealing with and their kind of day-to-day routines. And so I think that's kind of been the biggest positive. And I echo what Perry said that even if, we don't make it through this or through a vote, which we will, I still think we have that connection and the idea of being a union without a union, and working together collectively on things. So, and I think the biggest struggle, at least from the regional office perspective, is fear. I think a lot of people are driven by fear right now, and hearing a lot about people not wanting to make waves within the office, um, especially with unionizing. But it's kind of dawned on a lot of people that this is actually our best recourse in terms of fighting back against, everything that's been happening to us over the last year. And it's positive to think about what the future could look like, how you could have a better working environment for everybody. And even when we get past this administration, that we'll have um, a better future for all of us. So I'll end on that positive note.
That's perfect. Actually, well, Lindsay, it looks like you want to jump in.
Oh, you can go ahead though if there's something else
I
before.
was going to move on to another question, but if you had something
Yeah,
you wanted to,
I guess,
yeah.
yeah, just real quick, I think what my favorite part has been is that I know when we first started this, there were a lot of things that I was like, oh, this is something that, a union can do for us. And it's been really cool to see that shift from realizing that it's that and it's also what can we do for each other. And I've really loved, along with building community, getting to know folks, it's been really cool to realize, oh my gosh, we can organize resume workshops to help people with a new resume requirement. We can have an unemployment workshop during the shutdown and for seasonals at the end of their seasons. And just realizing how much goes into this, that's not just the things that you think of when you think of a union, and everything that we can do to help each other out, and build, power as our communities is really, really cool.
Love that because I was going to ask what are some of your hopes for the new union? Um, Anyone want to jump in?
I mean, like I said, I've been seasonal for a long time, so in I've had a lot of conversations with many seasonal employees too. Glacier has hundreds and hundreds of us, and I think there's so much that we could do for seasonals to make the Park Service a better and more fair place for seasonals to work, just to take better care of seasonal employees. Um, I have always wanted step increases for GS seasonal employees because wage grade seasonals get them and GS don't. Um, that's, I think, a tall order, but certainly, certainly I was not going to get that on my own. So working through a union certainly has a better shot at getting that than trying to do that on my own. But even simple things like a boot stipend, like why doesn't the trail crew get a boot stipend, Or folks who work in the backcountry, why should they have to spend thousands of dollars on their own gear to do their jobs, Not necessarily that the park should have to buy all those things for them, but just a little something each year to help replace a key piece of gear, I think will go a long way. Housing has come up a lot, but yeah, just these small things that I don't think are that hard, but could make things a lot better for seasonals. But on the other hand, are things that a lot of us have thought about forever, but just didn't know how to do by ourselves. And so to have a collective voice and some leverage to pressure the agency to do better. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Thanks, Perry. Who else has hopes for the future that they want to share?
I'll go. Oh, go ahead, Kristen.
Okay, I'll go really fast. Um, I was thinking about, I was like, oh man, I don't have any sort of like very specific, actionable, like tangible items like Perry. But I was thinking kind of on uh, like a 30,000 foot view of creating an environment where like we all as Park Service people really care about the mission. And my first thought was, well, we can strengthen the mission if we have really healthy people who care about doing this, who are supported. And I'm like, but wait, you're thinking again about the mission as like the company rather than the people. So like if we create a reciprocal relationship where we care about the mission. We know the better we are as people, the better job we can do to support this thing that we care about. And if we can get the Park Service to understand that that's our goal, we can just keep sort of this positive relationship going where we keep building each other up and making each other better to build this organization that really like we're not only employees of, we're the beneficiaries of as taxpayers. You know what I mean? Like, this is ours.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. And that there is so much in that realm that we can do when we partner together to help strengthen the voice. And your union can advocate and lobby in a way that the agency can't do, which builds a lot of power legislatively. Travis, you wanted to join in?
Yeah, and I'll do the quick intro. I did not forget that either. So,
Awesome.
Travis, I'm a project manager engineer out in Intermountain region out of our Lakewood office. And just like Kristen mentioned, support all the parks in our region. And I have the privilege to go to a lot of them. So, easily the best part of the job. But I wanted to mention something that since this is, looking to do and what we can maybe achieve. This seems small too, but open season just ended with benefits. There's been drastic changes with healthcare insurance cost, and it's super confusing every time looking at that. I think this is the first year we didn't have like an open house with representatives when we typically do, and we've seen double-digit increase. I don't know if we can change rates, but helping people be informed more. I'd like to have like maybe almost requiring some sort of training annually that is put on for everyone. I know I actually did one-on-ones with folks because I try and advocate for not only health insurance but TSP and retirement and making sure just giving information and where resources are at. I think historically the Park Service has been very poor. Like Bonnie, I've been 15 years and it was just you get a piece of paper and sign up and you don't know anything going in. So you either become informed and you do digging or you just don't know. And they have gotten better, but I think if we could require like some sort of training for those things and even annually, I think that would be awesome.
I love that both you and Lindsay have said similar things about your union stepping in and filling in the gaps and being who you want them to be and showing up and creating the culture and the environments that you all want to work and live for many of you all in. Um, and uh, Oh, I was just about to say something about yes, we can do whatever you were saying, Travis. What did you literally just say?
About
Um,
benefits and like
oh,
trainings.
Giving, yes, providing support. Also similar to what Lindsay said. Um, Providing support on these really integral parts of being a federal employee is absolutely a role that your union can play. Both your chapter leaders, your field rep, but also we partner with a company that provides benefits specifically to union members, and they sit down and do free consultations and explain all kinds of health benefit options and retirement and insurance, all kinds of things. And so I just, the idea of providing more information and being a clearinghouse for that information and guidance is a great goal for your union. With that, I am going to hand over facilitation to my colleague, Stephanie. And Wyatt, I see that you have joined us. We've got a full panel. Let me add you in. Oh, this makes for a Brady Bunch cube. So this is perfect. Awesome. All right, handing it over to Stephanie.
Thank you, Lee. Bonnie, I saw that you're unmuted. Did you want to add something to the conversation that we were having?
I was just gonna maybe add that while the question was, what do we hope for the union? And I hope that the union gives people hope, all of our employees hope, because right now I think it feels, well, if you were to give us the morale survey today, I'm pretty sure it would be the lowest it has ever been. I mean, the beatings will continue until morale improves, right? And even with the things that we're hearing rumors about things happening with our EPAPs, and we are the recipient of all these decisions that are being made, and we don't have any representation or voice in what's being done. And there's a giant disconnect between those levels to park employees. And I think that if anything, I hope that the union can be a bridge for that, that it will give us representation to be that bridge to communicate what we need to do our jobs well and safely, and without the undue stress that is being caused right now by all of this. I mean, it's just, I want to say some law enforcement bad words here, but I'll be professional and just say ridiculous and leave it at that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wyatt, since you just joined us, would you like to introduce yourself? Say hello.
Oh, sure. For those of you who don't know me already, I'm Wyatt. I work at Amachi National Historic Site in Colorado. And I joined in on the campaign back in May. And I think technically we hold the honor of the first IMR park that hit 50%, since there's only 2 eligible people at our site. So I haven't done nearly as much organizing work as the rest of the IMR folks on this panel, but I have tried to contribute to the movement any other way I can over the last few months.
Yes, Wyatt's been integral in our communications committee and other Empower hours that we've had. So we're very appreciative of all of our organizers for sure. So I'm going to get more into kind of your personal experiences as an organizer, and how you talk to folks and reach out to folks, and what is it that you're actually having to do on a day-to-day basis as an organizer. So a lot of times we have, people who are supportive of the union, or at least supportive of having the benefits of the union, without really like wanting to sign on or sign the 1187. And they will just come right out and say, well, I would get the benefits anyway, without being a member. And I'm just curious if you have had encounters or conversations around that, and how you've handled those conversations. If there's anybody who wants to jump in first.
I'll start maybe. Um, I mean, I think, I try to lead a conversation with the future, right? Like you could reap the benefits, but you could also have a say in the benefits and how what a union, bargains around and kind of holds the agency's feet to the fire on. And so it's, some of those small and big things that we all actually benefit now, and some of them have been stripped away through this administration. And so it's kind of like starting with that. But I will also say that the union offers recourse. I mean, we do all benefit from it, even if you don't sign 1187, and even if your region isn't unionized yet. But I think it was really helpful to hear that, like the union, if we got a RIF notice, like the union would be able to kind of help look that over and, provide guidance and feedback about next steps. You're able to take your grievances to them if something personally happens to you on the job, and they'll work with you personally on that. So I think those are some of like the personalized benefits that I see about joining a union, is kind of having legal representation for yourself.
Perry?
Yeah, I I would also say to add on to that, I think I've tried to frame it as, aside from these very concrete things that Bree was mentioning, just like this is a team you want to be on, like, do you want to be part of making this agency a better place to work, or are you like not interested in that? Do you want to be part of this community that we're building, or like, not so much? Like when we throw events and build a community, it's like that's a place you want to be. These are people you want to spend time with. This is um, a place to feel like you're part of a larger collective, like you have a voice, like you're heard, like you can make change for the better, which is often not how being an employee of a giant agency, especially a longtime seasonal, makes a lot of us feel. And that, yeah, a union is a place that makes us feel, yeah, heard, empowered, and like we can make change.
Thank you. Anybody else? Or Bonnie, do you want to share?
I would just say the first words out of my mouth have been, we literally have nothing to lose. The small amount of money that we'll pay for the representation for dues is going to be well worth it. We have nothing to lose right now.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that a lot of people are feeling that and feeling the pressure and looking for someone to turn to. And as we form this union community, we can be that for people. Um, if one of your colleagues or someone who's viewing, this Empower Hour either now or the recording would be interested in getting involved in organizing, how would you advise them to get involved, or to what steps would you advise them to take?
I can start, Stephanie.
Mhm.
So the first thing I'd want to let them know is they're not alone. We have a lot of folks who have been working together to do this. And we are all, I always love saying we're all on the same team at the end of the day. And I know folks who keep talking about the agency, the mission, all of us together. So that's where I'd start is, you are not alone. You have support, regardless if we're at your park unit or not. And I think that's the biggest message I would pass along is do not feel like you're in this alone.
Love that. Anybody else?
I'd say just start talking to your friends, talk to your coworkers, start with whoever you know the best, whoever you think might be the most on board. Start somewhere easy and be like, hey, did you hear that our region's unionizing, or that a bunch of these other regions have unionized? And yeah, find some other folks that can help you out and build a team, and yeah, and then just start gathering contact info, having people's personal emails and phone numbers so you can contact them outside government channels. Invaluable.
I think just to combine Perry and Travis's answers, um, like you don't have to worry about stepping on toes. Because you're all in the same team. Like as soon as you start talking to your friends and building that network, you're going to run into that other network, and then you're just going to be bigger. So yes, there are more of you out there, and that's a good thing.
And I realized I don't think I actually introduced myself in either of the questions that I answered before, but I'm Lindsay. I'm at Glacier National Park. I'm an education technician. And I just wanted to add to this that have fun with it. Perry and I spent a lot of time hanging out with like Otter Pops or like Freezy Pops on hot days with a table with information and talking to coworkers. And those kinds of situations where it's not the pressure and stuff like that builds awareness. And as you get more folks talking, we had people come up that we didn't know who were like, oh, I'm here to sign my form. And it's I don't know, it's cool how you can kind of build stuff gradually. I mean, obviously we want to get to 50% as fast as you can, but just have fun with it, get to know people. And if you do that, then it helps it to build naturally as it goes, and helps more folks to start being aware of it and realizing that it's super important and really serious to be doing this, but it's also something that's about, again, community and having fun and connecting with each other.
Totally. Like I had talked with a couple of folks just getting started organizing, and they seemed like pretty nervous, and the vibe was sort of like, my volunteers tribute, like this has to be done, so like I guess I'll do it. And I was like, this is the most fun I've ever had. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah, this was so fun. So like you get to meet a ton of people, you get to feel more connected, you get to build community, like it's the best. I mean, I'm very much an extrovert. Maybe not everyone feels that way, but yeah, it's been an extremely fun and also meaningful and fulfilling experience. And I feel so lucky to have gotten to be a part of it.
Anybody else want to weigh in on that one? Okay, well, to kind of piggyback off of that question, so looking back on the last however many months you've been involved as an organizer, what stands out to you the most? And this can be anything. It can be an event you had, a conversation you had, a concern that somebody had that really struck a chord with you. What's one thing, or maybe more than one thing, that just really stands out as something that has impacted you?
So I would say for me, it's really been able to see all the work that has been done at all the other parks throughout IMR and PWR as well has been really inspiring. Like I mentioned before, I don't have a ton of people I can try to organize. So that hasn't really been my focus, but seeing how many people have joined in across the regions has been something that's been really inspiring for me, in that we're all doing this together to build a community, to leverage our power into protecting what few things we have, and hopefully to gain some that we really need.
Thank you, Wyatt. Is there anyone else that wants to talk about a memorable moment along the way? Go ahead, Bonnie.
I think just initially I was a little overwhelmed and trying to figure out how to reach a lot of people. And as we brought in our other two organizers who are amazing, and the three of us started getting together and really breaking it down and putting together steps and dividing up tasks, it moved pretty quickly. And then just toward the end, for those last few votes trying to get over the 50% to 51%, realizing that a few of the people we had talked to initially who were really not sure about it came back to us afterward. They had a lot of fear, and then as other people started as this got bigger and bigger and bigger toward the end, when we were like, we're really close, they came back to us and said we're in, and it was just like, all right, cool, we got this. And then now that we're past that threshold, we're still continuing to have people come in and ask questions and want to fill out that 1187, and hopefully we'll get some more as we get closer to the petition and vote time. The teamwork stands out.
Yeah, and just that moment where someone has the realization that they really want to be part of this, and that's validates all the hard work that you put in, all of the long hours and extra time. Anybody else have a moment that they'd like to, or a particular thing? Go ahead, Perry.
Yeah, I think for me, it's talking, like all the conversations I've had with people that are really different from me, like different generations, different jobs, different backgrounds, different politics, and to like sit down at a table with those people and learn about their job and learn about what they're concerned about and find common ground with them, and to together realize that, like, yes, unionizing is something that we're both interested in, both want to happen, was great, not only like on a personal level, but just like in this moment in time was really powerful for me to be like, oh, we have more in common than we do that's different. There's a lot of common ground to be found here if we can sit down at a table with people and talk about how we can, yeah, make things better together.
Anybody else want to jump in on that question? Well, the one thread that I have heard throughout this whole conversation tonight is that word community. And so I want to delve into that a little bit more and talk about, in addition to getting these 1187s, you're having these conversations, you've been building this community. And, we've answered this in different ways, throughout this conversation, but just kind of to go back to that concept of the community building and what it means to you and what it means to your colleagues to form this community around the union, but also just around, as Perry said, having common interests, more similarities than differences.
I'll start, Stephanie.
Thank you, Travis.
So one thing I've noticed, being here in Lakewood in a big building with different groups outside of just IMRO, is I don't think I can go through the building now without knowing someone that I've at least talked to or spoken with and have had conversations with about the unionization effort, regardless if they're in facilities like I am or in a totally other division. I've seen them walking throughout the building. I didn't know who they were before this. And now we started to bridge that gap between the different divisions and working groups. And we've had some events where folks who we would never do anything outside of our silos typically, and now there have been events where that has happened. And I think it's brought us closer, as a Park Service employees, which has just been awesome. And like I said, getting to know folks. And then I mentioned earlier about benefits is I've had more people wanting to talk about being proactive of, not just the work we're doing today, but like benefit conversations and having those one-on-one talks and feeling they have the trust and that, we do have the compassion for each other to sit down, even if it's not us, it's not our situation, but we can have that conversation and be open because we're looking to help each other.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that sets a great tone as, we move into elections and standing up both of these union chapters, is that the union has this approachability And so people will feel comfortable coming to the leadership or the stewards or whoever it is with issues and they'll feel like they can trust the union to protect them not only as an advocate but also their confidentiality and all of those things. And so you're putting forward now the culture that you will be as a chapter, and I think that's really important, and it certainly shines through in all of the conversations that we've had that this is, that the community that we're building is one of safety and one that, everyone is accepted. Anybody else want to add to that?
I guess I would just echo what you both just said about building community. And I think it's been really interesting for me is because I come from a program that not a lot of people know about, and it's very atypical of the Park Service. Like I don't even work in parks. I work out in communities. And so it's been like really great to kind of get to know different people within the regional office that I've never interacted with. And like Travis was saying, kind of cross those different directorate boundaries. And it's been great to hear what the park employees are concerned about, so I can be a better advocate, right? Like with whatever little power I have, and gaining power through this union, how to advocate for them as well. So, yeah.
And Stephanie, I'll add, yeah, you had mentioned something about like approachability and all of that. I think it was kind of interesting throughout the campaign to see how people kind of started recognizing those of us who were a part of it, but also how that then meant that I've now had people come up to me and ask me things about, I don't know, different kinds of like things that are going on or for help with something that I've then been able to help them with because I'm also more connected with people at other parks who know things that are going on. And so it's been really cool to already see that and to see people know and be like, oh, hey, like Lindsay's one of the people working on this unionizing campaign. She might be able to help me find the answer to this problem. And that's been cool to actually see that happening and be like, yes, I want to be approachable. I want to be able to help people out.
Building those skills, those union skills as you go that you didn't think you would have in the very beginning when just those initial conversations felt so scary, and now they come naturally. Anybody else have something to add around the concept of community? Okay, and then just one last thing before we go to Q&A. I would just like to, and maybe you've answered this, and so you can just say if you have, but how do you feel like being involved in this effort has helped you grow just as an employee, an NPS employee, and a person?
I feel like I've been thinking about this the whole time. Um, Again, I'm Kristen. I'm an architect with the Intermountain Regional Office. I'm out of Santa Fe. But I've been thinking today before this and this whole conversation about how this process of organizing mirrors exactly what we are trying to do in our um, working lives of like building a better organization, building a better community. Um, we're basically becoming leaders by connecting with other people and um, being connectors ourselves by knowing more people, by kind of poking through all of these silos so that we can get people the answers that they need instead of being stuck in one silo or another. Um, so in terms of, oh, how is this, benefiting us? I mean, it's benefiting us immensely. We're growing as humans, as organizers, as people. Like this is how we build communities on a large scale. Like this is how anything on earth gets done. We're getting better at it every day.
I love that. Anyone else?
Yeah, I can go. I think this has made me braver all the times that I walked into an unfamiliar office or just walked up to someone I didn't know and asked them about the union. And everyone was lovely about it. So I'm like, oh, this is I can do this. And it's made me more empathetic all the times that I have had a conversation with someone and they said they were dealing with something that I had no clue was a problem, no clue existed, nothing. It's made me more open-minded. Like people have surprised me so many times, just time and time again. Sometimes for the worse, but usually for the better. And yeah, just so many. I've just learned a ton, and it's been a wonderful experience of yeah, growth and learning.
Thank you. Bonnie, did you want to say something?
Sure. I just was going to say the title of this hour sums it all up. Empower Hour. In my role, there's a lot of things that are out of our control that we respond to as rangers, and then it's bringing that those situations into some sort of safe, controlled situation. And I think one of the hardest things that has been for me with this administration, and as we've been facing all these different challenges, is that there's just this total feeling of lack of control, that all these things are being done and happening to us as employees. And this whole effort has sort of opened a whole new chapter for me in being empowered as an employee. And as somebody who has thought about going into more of the formal leadership track, I'm now considering that this is the best spot for me to be in, because I might be able to do more for my coworkers and our team, and this agency really in this role working with the union. And so hopefully other people feel just as empowered as I've felt being part of this whole effort.
I had something to just build on what Bonnie said, which is that to me, unionizing is an act of hope. And it's something that, I mean, I've certainly grown throughout the year, but also this is something that's gotten me through the year of having something to be able to pour my energy into when things around me are changing in ways that I can't change. It's how can I make a positive change, and how can I turn, despair into action and into hope.
That's great. I love that message of hope. That really, I think, sums it all. Empowerment and hope. So we did want to allow a little bit of time for some, Q&A from anybody who is attending this session. Also, if you have questions for each other, the panelists, please feel free to ask your questions. And so questions, you can just unmute yourself and ask your question, or raise your hand, or it can be a comment, or you can drop it in the chat if you'd like. But we just want to give some space here, for questions that we didn't plan for, and just some time, for you to talk colleague to colleague. And while people are thinking of their questions, I'll just fill you in on some updates for the organizing campaign. So if you think of a question, go ahead and raise your hand or drop it in the chat while I'm talking. So I can give an update for the Pacific West Region campaign. We filed our petition on November 6th, I believe. With the FLRA. So it is in with the FLRA. They did acknowledge receipt of that petition, and they have assigned an FLRA agent to our case. And we are awaiting the opening letter from the FLRA, which will go to the agency and to NTEU so that we can arrange the initial conference between all of the parties. So that's where we are in terms of the election process. And of course, we're continuing to organize parks and programs that were not part of the original petition or the initial petition. So, no one is excluded if you didn't get on that first round of the petition. We're continuing with parks who maybe weren't quite to their percentage in time, and also any new parks that or programs that would like to join the effort. So that's where we are, and I will let Lee give a little update on the IMR.
The NTEU filed an election petition for 12 park units within the IMR on November 24th. And we had originally, we've been assigned an agent, and we had a date for NPS to send a kind of list, our beginning of this process to look over eligibility and discuss that. Be prepared for that first call. They did ask for an extension on that, and that was granted. This is a really normal part of the process. This is a lot of information for them to be compiling about a lot of different employees. So that is due to the union in early January. We'll be then having our first call late, either middle or late January to get the process going for the election. In the meantime, the IMR is still going to have a town hall on January 6th to start to talk about that election process, what that looks like, and kind of upcoming events for the year. And if you didn't get that email, reach out to one of the organizing committee or myself so that we can get you that information and that link. And just like Stephanie said, for parks that were not included in that initial election, the IMR is still organizing in many different other parks, and there's still plenty of time if your park hasn't started to get started and to join for that next election after this first round.
I haven't seen any questions come through the chat or any hands raised. I'll still give it a little more time, but we will be having another Empower Hour on January 12th, same time, same place. And that Empower Hour, we're planning on, well, we'll be giving updates, of course, on the election, on where we are in the election process for both regions, but we'll be kicking off a legislative action week. As you know, we could be facing another shutdown at the end of January. And so we thought that a couple of weeks before that potentially could happen, that it would be good to start reaching out and contacting legislators and letting them know that, what you're feeling as federal employees as we draw near the end of the continuing resolution. So that will be January 12th, and then the days following we'll have activities related to taking action and contacting the lawmakers. I haven't seen any other questions. Well, we are always here for you if you have questions. And of course, your panelists of organizers representing each region, I'm sure, are open to any kind of questions or concerns that you have. A lot of those have been, being shared already. We are continuing to gather information as we move through this process on what people are thinking and what they're concerned about. So just reach out if you have anything that you want your organizers, the union, to know. I will give a minute for each person to kind of give a parting thought if you'd like, each of our panelists. So if Travis, do you want to start since you started us off with introductions?
Stephanie, did you see there's a comment in the chat about how somebody can get a hold of one of us?
I did not. So while we're doing our parting remarks, Lee and I will both put our contact information in the chat so that people know how to get in touch with NTEU should you need to or want to. So Travis, over to you.
Yeah, I would say that I just hit 15 years in the Park Service this year, which is a big milestone. And I've done a lot of amazing things, but this has so far been the highlight of my career, being a part of this effort. What is the saying? It's parks are America's greatest story. I don't remember the exact saying, and it just feels amazing to be a part of this and contributing to the people and the places that make it happen.
I can
Thank
go.
you.
Oh, I can go next. I just, when Travis said that, of this has been such a big part of, what he's most proud of being part of the NPS. I was sending my list of accomplishments to my supervisor for my performance appraisal recently, and I really wanted to put this on there, but I was like, it wasn't on work time, it wasn't work things, but it's like one of the things that I'm most proud of, and it's been, yeah, really exciting to be a part of this process, and I'm excited to help other parks go through the same process and continue to organize and work together to make the NPS better.
I'll give a little parting statement if that's okay. Um, Echoing y'all for sure. But Lindsay, when you said that, I was like, yeah, we should put it on there because it makes us better like employees. It makes us better at our job when we know who to talk to about, challenges that we have or who is in charge of what, so that we can know who to go to solve our problems and things like that. But in general, I think that personally, this experience has been so, gosh, we're using empowering so much, but it's really like attaining or being part of this community on a deeper level. Like, yes, we're part of a work community and we know who to connect to, but how can we expand that? That's what we're doing here. We're not only learning who we can go to for work problems, but um, who we can lean on for support in everything. And that's each other every day.
Thank you. Bonnie, let's go to you, and then Wyatt, you'll be next.
Say, let's stop expending energy on all of our negative complaints and thoughts and being frustrated, and let's get together and actually take some action and do something about it. This is an opportunity for us to do that, and I'm really excited to be a part of it, and just can't wait to keep working hard at this. So thanks for the time.
Yeah, I think I'd echo everything that's been said already, and I'd also like to thank those of you that joined in to listen to us answer these questions. It's really encouraging to see the continuing momentum that we're going to have. I think a big part of it for me has been the thought that as those of us whose parks are filing or are transitioning now to working on the election and the building the foundations of our actual chapter, this fight isn't nearly over. It's only beginning and isn't going to stop for a long time. But it's been really made me feel proud of myself to have contributed to something that is going to hopefully mean something for the seasonals that are starting in 2035.
Yeah, I would say I was talking with a union friend from another agency, and he was like, it's the experience of a lifetime to organize your own workplace, so enjoy it. And that really like struck a chord with me. And yeah, I feel so lucky and grateful to have gotten to do this and to work with all of you people and built so many connections across the agency. And yeah, feel an opportunity to feel hopeful for the future.
And Bree.
Yeah, I don't know if I can add too much more. I would just echo that this has been an incredible opportunity, and it really does make me hopeful for the future and what we can build together, and what we can build for future generations too, right? The people that are going to be entering the park service. And so, and I wanted to thank you, Stephanie and Lee. You've been great. NTEU has been a great union to work with. I'm really happy that we went this route with NTEU. So yeah, really looking forward to like what what the future holds. So thank you.
And speaking from our side, the NTEU organizer side, I just every day am blown away by the organizing committees on this campaign, the work that you all put in, and just to use the word we keep using, community, just being sort of a little part of your community that you're building is very meaningful to me, and I'm sure Lee feels the same way. And not to get like emotional or choked up or anything, but it's a unique experience for us to work such a large campaign, but feel like that, and a large organizing committees, but feel like we know each and every one of you, and feel like we're part of what you're doing, and part of the community or family, however you want to look at it. But it means a lot to us.
Yeah, I definitely started to tear up tonight, listening to you all. We also came into this hour from our IMR organizing committee meeting the hour before that and talking about leadership and the next steps. This moment, as you all start to really coalesce into, um, something more concrete, more tangible. It has felt a little nebulous up until kind of this moment. And you all, the work that you all have done is making it concrete. And it's inspiring, it's beautiful, and it is so incredible to watch and to be a part of watching you all become, as Kristen said, leaders in ways that maybe you never were before. And some of you all like talked about how this you want to add this to your resume. I will say it is not uncommon for us to lose many of our leaders over to management because it does actually help. It does help your career path to be involved, to take on new skills, to be able to connect people to the things that they need and want to know and grow. And you all are creating the pathways to be able to do that. So kudos to you all. Thank you all for being here, for taking your time to share what you all have learned with your colleagues. This has been such a great resource for people to be able to hear directly from you all. So. I think with that, we can probably round things out for people who are watching this on a recording and can't see our contact information in the chat. Both Stephanie and I can be reached at our names with a period between our first and last names at nteu.org. So I'm lee.fisher at nteu.org and Stephanie is stephanie.snow at nteu.org. Please reach out to us if you have questions or if you happen to know any of the faces on the screen. I'm sure any of them would welcome you to reach out to them as well. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. With that, I'm going to end the recording.
Thank you, everyone.